shall give the report one by one, after which then we have a response, one or two, before we move on that. So those in favor that we receive the three reports as a group before we react, let me see your hands. Any opposed? Thank you, it's carried. We were supposed to give a PowerPoint presentation, but the way we are arranged is not possible. So you will open to the book, and I will run through the report very quickly. It's showing a picture, and the secretary will show the picture, and the treasurer, and then the entire report will be together before we make a comment or two, and then we move on. So the President's report, introduction. In a world filled with chaos and confusion, disasters and calamities, disease and deaths, conflicts in the world and conflicts in the church, propaganda, misinformation and false information in the world and in the church, God has called his people to be his voice of hope in a world quickly spinning out of control. This is the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The clarion call for the three angels' messages of Revelation 14 given to the God's last day remnant movement to reach every nation, tribe, tongue, people with the everlasting gospel is more relevant today than ever. And God's people are answering the call in marvelous ways through total member involvement. That is TMI. We don't have time to lose on anything other than this grand mission. You have heard from the presentation, from the devotion, and from the prayers. We do not have any time to lose on anything other than this marvelous involvement totally. The pastors, the lay people, young and old, learned and ignorant, rich and poor. What is it? Is everybody in charge of security here? There is the security committee. Tell them those who should be here, they should be here. They are regular delegates. Those who are in charge of security, they should be there. So let's move on. So the mission is there. This is the grand mission. It is our core business. For 10 years now, we in East Kenya Union Conference have approached this mission or this core business from 5 strategic areas. Number 1, soul winning. Number 2, spiritual nurture. Number 3, leadership development. Number 4, self-support. That's financial self-support. And number 6, unity. No, number 5, unity. So that's the 5 strategic areas where we have moved with this report. This report will bring to this representative body of the East Kenya Union Conference membership the achievement gained by the grace and enablement of God for this short quinquennium, September 2022 to September 2025. In soul winning, we have embraced many initiatives and activities, both locally and internationally, coming from the church, world church, the division, the union, to the local churches, initiative and activities. Like 1, we have engaged in public evangelism. 2, personal evangelism, through friendship evangelism, literature evangelism. There was an initiative called Homecoming, a recent one here. McFinley Net Event, family evangelism, youth evangelism, children evangelism. And then now, 2022 to 2025 has been intense with mission activities throughout the Union territory. And as a result of all these initiatives and activities under the spirit of EEI, that is East Kenya Union Conference, Mission Impact 2025, we have brought into God's kingdom 170,234. That is what has come here, and that full report will be seen in the evangelism report when it comes its time. Now, this is what has happened. That's the picture. And you know the public evangelism activities at the local churches, together, individuals, people from outside coming to help us from all over the world. It has been intense with the activities. Then now, okay, is there? Thank you very much. I didn't know that there was this help. So the second one is spiritual nurture. Let's look at the initiatives and activities that we have employed in the spiritual nurture. Yes, we have employed many activities and initiatives, and God has seen that we have had a harvest of 234, according to the evangelism report for our union for this period. But in the spiritual nurture, which is number 2, Jesus said the ideal for those who join his kingdom through myriad activities and initiatives. This is the will of the Father who sent me, that of all he has given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise him, or should raise it up in the last day. And this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life, and will raise him in the last day, according to John 6:39 and 40. The reality is that as many as come in the church stay in the church. That is the heart of nurture. But we want to say that the reality in this fallen world, full of competing and conflicting religious education, we lose many members. The nurture challenge here, and that will be a report from the secretary, we will get full report. The nurture challenge we have is, yes, we baptized 170,234. But the retention rate, what is in our books, is 94,002. So you can see that challenge. Very many baptisms, very many losses or people who are unaccounted for. So that means 76,000 of the people we baptized are unaccounted for. So a number of activities have been put in place to mitigate these losses. Number 1 is the teaching ministry. We have put annual themes and developed and voted at the end of the year, the running year. These themes are the ones which has been informing the teaching of believers at all levels at our fields and conferences. And then the field of conferences cascaded to the local churches through seminars, workshops in our local churches, through our church weekly, Sabbath sermons, and many. What did I do? Yes, and many. So this is what we have said, and some of these are, we have gone through salvation by grace, the second coming, the sanctuary messages, and now this year, for us in East Kenya, we were studying what we call the good news about the great controversy, and that's the theme of our booklet. has been developed. Apart from the main 5 prayer mini prayer initiatives on our church calendar, like the 10 days of prayer, youth week of prayer, children weeks of prayer, and then week of prayer for all members and women week of prayer, we have also ensured that members attend and in our local churches. Some have embraced, some haven't, but we are moving towards that because we know prayer is a huge and important nurturing initiative. Friday Festivals, for those who can get to the church and open the Sabbath, that second day of prayer. So this is where we are, and we want to say that we have finished that, after which then we are encouraging all spiritual caregivers, like elders, department directors at our local churches, field and conferences, to make the prayer ministry a lifestyle rather than an event. The third activity is camp meetings. Camp meetings, local churches in groups, all alone, have run well-organized camp meetings. We have a whole week of camp meetings. We get guests from all over the world. We make sure that there are choirs, there's givings and everything. The camp meetings that run from the end of July to the end of August. Many people are baptized at this end of the meeting. And other than becoming the evangelism tool, it has also become a nurturing tool. Another one is workshops and Bible conferences. Every field and conference organize annual workshops and Bible conferences for their children, their youth, men and women. And then the focus is to grow the spirituality of participants. Churches organize week-long revival meetings in their local contexts. Most churches also run the Reclamation Week as it is captured on the GC calendar of events. Then the fifth one are retreats and social excursions, because these are some of the initiatives we want to put in place for the nurture of the members who are coming into the church. We have put in place activities and initiatives to develop leaders, directors to the fields and conferences and meet training. Then leadership meetings. We have officers, leadership, president, treasurers have their own Zoom meetings. Department directors have some Zoom meetings where they have had, if we go back from 2016, we have had over 5 symposium places where we bring all to police. Now we are going to police S. Where by the end of the year, think S. Where by the end of the year, think presidents will complete the entire policy up to policy Z. And that is what we call leadership development. Another area where we have approached this mission is financial self-support. The main funding streams in the Seventh-day Adventist Church are through tithes and offerings. This will be reported in detail by the treasury that has been raised and disbursed for development projects. And we invest for development projects, and we have had 2 main areas. Appropriations for development for projects. Because the union from 2016, and I want to thank the executive committee, bought the idea that we can appropriate money for capital projects to every field and conference. So we had put together appropriation for development project and then the merry-go-round fundraising functions. These two are I've feared the union has set aside an annual budget and disemburses finished within a very short time. And then they also bought a bus for Kajiado Adventist School. It's now a referral hospital. And then they allocated some of the money to begin a rehabilitation center. If that man, I think, treasurer, you must have started the rehabilitation center, I was told, and drugs. And then that will help this. Then Central Rift Valley Conference, leaders of all these have also contributed to the unity of the union. It's the one of leadership training. You give them the advantage during the PowerPoint. So we are saying you give them the advantage during the PowerPoint. So we are saying that unity was the last strategic issue that we wanted to have so that we can easily have this. And so I was saying all the activities that were meant for evangelism, that were meant for spiritual nurture, that were meant for leadership development, that were meant for financial self-support, that this unity self-support, that this unity is not only in East Kenya, but it has gone to West Kenya as well. Because we have said West Kenya and East Kenya is one church. When they have something to celebrate, we go there. When we have something to celebrate, they come here. These are the activities, and we have decided that. And we have had even joint leadership meetings where we have fellowship together to remember. We have fellowship together to remember what the church was when it was one union. And these activities have brought the unity of the church in this part of the world. So these are the 5 strategic areas which we have engaged in the last 10 years, but they have flown to these last 3 years that we have been there, that we are ending today. And up to unity. Okay, sorry for that. We have to do that. So all these activities that I mentioned before, as I've said, it is there. Now challenges. Because we are in a world, a foreign world, challenges never miss. One of the challenges we are battled of the world that has crept into the church. There are numerous compromises that have shaped to a large extent and measure the running of the life and mission of the church. And we are struggling. Numerous compromises have been allowed into the church that they have formed a flood, the one that our president was talking about in Revelation chapter 12, that is threatening to carry away the church. This can be seen in our dress, in our eating, in our dresses, in our church boards, in our sermons, in our everything. They are being attacked by worldly influences, whether it is preaching, like Dr. Maka said here, we who occupy the pulpits are not even ready to declare, I have no message from the Lord. I simply jump into the pulpit with anything and everything. That's the spirit of the world that has come into the church. And what happened? It has gone blank. Then
Which one do I move? I can move it with this one. This one. It's meant for side song. Thank you very much. That's the Secretariat report, and I want to begin by appreciating, I'll be welcoming all of you, ECD officers, invited guests, all delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Welcome to the third East Kenya Union Conference session here at Parkside Hotel, Kitui. We want to praise God Almighty. Thus far, He has brought us. The East Kenya Union Conference Secretariat has a mission, and this is to make disciples of Jesus Christ who live as His loving witnesses and proclaim to all people the everlasting gospel of the three angels' messages in preparation for His soon return, and is recorded in Matthew, Acts, and Revelation. This must go with His pending messages. And as you can see there, we have the three angels, how we should circulate the entire globe. This disciple-making commission is urgent. Hence, in the Secretariat, our 2020 to 2025 Secretariat theme has been, I will go making disciples, NRR. And NRR stands for Nurture, Retention, and Reclamation. This is our promotion strategy that is not only for winning souls, but retaining both the new and the old disciples. Our method and our vision is very clear, which I read even in the morning, and that remains the same. Secretariat as a vision. And then there are the core values. In the Secretariat, whether the union going down to the fusions and conferences and even the local churches, their vision is to be exemplary in the performance of our Secretariat work. Then we have 10 core values that are a key call for Secretariat, and we endeavor to have a high level of skill and treat people's personal records with uttermost privacy, whether the local church up to the hierarchy of the in the Secretariat of this church. Integrity is key. We uphold high standards of integrity in all our actions. Then the teamwork, we work as a team, and we value working together and collaborate to achieve our goals by respecting and valuing one another's contribution. This is seen as we come around to you with the exchange program of nurture, retention, and reclamation, and as we endeavor in the Adventist Church Management System and other exchanges that we do all along. Our territory. Communication, effectiveness in organization, and thus we take personal responsibility for our own actions and results. Excellence. We relentlessly pursue excellence in everything that we do. That is key as a call again in the Secretariat. Timeliness. We strive to be timely in what we do and always balance our desire for speed with diligent care to ensure accuracy. Then dedication, we are dedicated to the mission of the church, our Secretariat vision, and these core values that I have listed here. Then the last is the passion. We are passionate about soul winning, and you notice that the Secretariat will come out every year to run a campaign in a territory within East Kenya Union Conference. Work has grown in East Kenya Union Conference necessary, leading to organization of 6 more entities, bringing the total number to 11 entities. That means we have 4 conferences and we have 7 fields. The church equally, the churches equally increased from 2,897 to 4,239,054, which is 0.6% growth in the past 10 years, which is an average. If you count the 10 years, we have performed an average growth of 23,906 per year. If you tally that, that will translate to that average of what we have performed. I want us to note that we strongly recommend to all entities should ensure that all baptisms, all baptized members have been entered into both the online, that is the Adventist Church Management System, and also you enter them in the register book, the hard copy register, as soon as the baptism ceremony is done. This is key. Sometimes a church clerk, you can forget to enter, and that's how we come to find members who are baptized and then they don't appear in either of the registers. And the ACMS is the most accurate register that we count on. This is because EKUC Secretariat is committed to keep accurate membership records in the local churches, and the copy, that is the manual copy, and the soft copy we call ACMS in our registers. The Secretariat is committed to its mission. We are committed to our methods and vision, and by God's grace, we will continue focusing on unentered territories as we equally embrace the nurture, the retention, and reclamation of the old and new members, or the converts that we make in our territories. That is key to, again, our call, those core values. I bring here below now the territory we ought to populate with over 1,200,000. And I want you to mark that, what I'm making. We need to populate our territory according to our impact theme with 1,200,000 souls when we double the membership by December 2025. Remember, we have 3 more months, and we can still embark on the mission agenda and realize what is the balance between the 711,000 members, which, as we are talking now, there are more than 720, because this report is as of June. Now, I have a few questions I want to raise here. Our biggest question is this: are we catching up with this vision? Why am I raising this? We have seen that we should have doubled the membership by 2025 December. Yet we are not yet there, but we have a few months. But then where we have reached is 711. That means you can subtract and see the balance that we have. And therefore, we need to work very hard to realize the same. This is the picture of the church in Kenya. And you may want to appreciate the territory that we have. All the 11 entities, and this is a larger portion. Then we have also the territory that is unentered, that we have to move and enter, which is called the country of Somalia. And therefore, my report covers all that. The following table now and figures below will bring more light to where we stand on matters, the presence of Adventism in our territory per entity. And I want to include that Somalia included because it is part of East Kenya Union Conference. As you have seen in our picture here, it is telling us that that dark area there, we need a presence where we need to have our members as well. Now, I want you to observe your territory because you have the booklet. I am talking of Central Kenya Conference. The membership is at 47,653. But you can see, I'm going to the totals. You can realize from Nairobi, Kiambu, Murang'a, and Nyeri, you have an average membership of 6 million. From these 6 million, the population of your territory, you have the presence of Adventists. They are only 47,000. You can work the fractions. Central Rift Valley Conference, your territory is there. You have 4.5 million. 4.5 million as a population, and you have the membership of 43,000. Then we go to East Nairobi Field. You have a challenge of reaching a population of 6.3, and currently you have a membership of 82,000. Then we come to Kenya Coast Field. You have a population of 7.4 million, and your church membership is 40,000. 40,000 is the church membership. We come to Northeast Kenya Field. You have a population to reach of 4 million, yet your membership is 38,000. Then we have Nyamira Conference. Nyamira Conference has 399,000 to reach, and they have 89,000 members. They have 89,000 members. Then we have Nyamira West. Nyamira West, which touches part of Kisii and part of Nyamira, and your population to reach is 317,000, and your membership in Nyamira West is 82,000. Then we come to South Kenya Conference, which touches Narok and Kisii, and you have 70,000 as the population that you need to cover, and you are 108,000 members. Then you may want to appreciate also that we have South Nairobi Kajiado Field, which takes part of Nairobi and Kajiado. They need to reach 1,630,000, and there are 36,000 members. 36,000 members. Last but not least is the South Rift Valley Field, which has Kericho, Bomet, and Narok, part of Narok, and your membership is, population is 2,144,000, and your membership is 30,000. And I put in red there, you may want to appreciate that we have a population of Somalia, which is 19 million, and we have 0 membership. Look at the general population membership, and I think I've already covered that. I don't have to repeat that. And in the graph, again, it is presented there. You may want to appreciate how it is, some territories, how it is down, and others, at least what we have, where those that have been reached. And you may find that territories like Nyamira West, and South Kenya, they may be having a lesser ratio to reach because of their population and the church membership. Then we are presenting here the comparison of population versus Adventism in ratio and percentage. you may want to appreciate, and you 0.4, and then for South East Kenya, 1 point in that, and you may appreciate, and the percentages that we have given per entity of how you are performing. We are not there yet, therefore we need to reach the main source. And the graph is represented there, and I think you can appreciate, and I want to believe it is coming up clearly in the booklet. I want to bring the membership comparison, same period now for 2022 to 2025, which is important for us to appreciate. Central Kenya Conference, in the second quarter of 2022, we earned 39,000. But when we came to the second quarter of this year, then our membership is 47,000. And you can see the increase. That is what we have done for these 3 years, because we are under 3 years, although we are reporting a quinquennial aspect of our report. Central Rift Valley Conference, you are at 42. They have done a good job. 20,000 is the increase, and they are at 82,000. Then you may appreciate each territory. As we go, Kenya Coast to 31. Notice there, as if the increase in members who are in books. As we are talking today, we are at of second quarter on 30th of June. We were at 711, 400, and of June we were at 711, 436. And you can see now the increase as you compare my president's report and others, that we are talking of 100,000 in 3 years. But when you get the drop again, it is quite significant. That's why it is important for us to prioritize nurture, retention, and reclamation. It is key to our members. What I have presented there now as comparison is what you may want to compare in the graph, and that's what we have presented. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, and the hard economic times, the work of the Lord has continued to expand, and membership has kept growing. Despite the fact that all churches had to close down during the lockdown period, members continued coming together in small groups, home churches, in their meeting at churches, and continued breaking the bread of life together. It is unfortunate that we lost some of our members through the COVID-19. The churches have cried because of this, and we know this happened. However, currently, we are here celebrating the goodness of the Lord by allowing us one more chance that we can mingle one with another as we now congregate in our churches. Praise the Lord. Yes, we are back, and you can see now the congregations are meeting, but the pandemic is also telling about the perilous times that we live in, and we pray that the Lord will continue to sustain us so that we can carry up this agenda of mission. Then we are doing comparison of growth in the number of churches. You may want to appreciate your territory there. Central Kenya Conference, where you were in 2022 and where you have reached in 2025. You know the number of Sabbath schools that you had and what you organized. That is what we are trying to compare here. Central Rift Valley, where you were at the beginning and where you have reached now. And then that is the figure now. You can go down. And I want to read the last one. It's the East Kenya Union Conference, where we, at the 2022 second quarter, we were 3,763. But as we talked in the second quarter, this year, we were 4,152. And therefore, the increase for all of us is 389. That's the increase that we have marked. Then you can see the representation per entity of what has occurred in each territory. You may want to appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, I want to bring the comparison of growth in the number of companies, the companies that you have, you had. So you may find some in the negatives. That means if they were in the negatives, you organize the companies into churches and no new ones were created. Central Kenya 180, and you may want to appreciate by 2025 they were at 292, and the increase is also cited there. Central Rift Valley is cited, and I want to maybe observe Kenya Coast Field. 2022 they were at 323, and when we are talking the second quarter, they were 263, and therefore you can see the negative aspect of the organizing the others. When sometimes we organize more churches, then no new ones are created. And we know the terrain of Kenya Coast Field. It is a difficult area where we need, even as fields and conferences, to be sending missionaries, because you know the background of the Kenya Coast, which is the largest actually. When we come to landmass, it is quite large compared to other territories. Mr. Chairman, I want to read now the East Kenya Union Conference. The companies, as we began in 2022, they were 1926. But as we are talking now, they are at 2134. And therefore, the increase is 208. And I've also done the figure. The figure is there that is representing the companies as well and what we do. Beyond office operations, in December 2016, the union embraced the digital form of membership management for the local church known as the Adventist Church Membership System, ACMS. Since then, the union has conducted several seminars and trainings to the church clerks to enable them use the system effectively in all transactions pertaining to church membership. The ACMS, that's when we started in 2016. And the membership comparisons now between the church manual register and the digital register is listed here. For CKC, we are talking of the membership. Then you can appreciate the ACMS and you can see the balances. You can see the balances. For CKC, in the manual registers, they talk of 47. But when we come to ACMS, they list 51. And you can see that there are more members that we can count on when we are using ACMS, the digital, than when we use the manual. Now, what we need to do is not to have more in the digital and then in the manual, but we need to have them tally. So that when we report and what is in the books and what is also online, the crowns, it is the same, and that makes the work of the pastor now easy for nurture retention and for other follow-ups. You may want to appreciate the territories as they have done, and there are those that are having the negative aspect of them, which we would want to ask them to pull their socks so that we do not have a large balance. As we are talking, as we made our report, the ACMS in East Kenya Union Conference, we were at 404. But you have also noticed that our report, the manual register, is 711,436. And therefore, you can see we have a balance to make of 7,032. So we want the territories that are in bracket, or the ones that have not worked very hard to bring it online membership, like SECEV, we are talking of ENF, we are talking of Nyamira West, which are having small figure, as we are saying they need to balance, they do that. But as well, even those that are not in the bracket, they need to make sure that the numbers are the same when we come to the manual and the digital. This is the representation in figure form. Mr. Chairman, it is evident that the Seventh-day Adventist Church in East Kenya Union Conference has embraced the digital space in its operations and has reduced paperwork significantly in the most of its operations. This system has equally increased efficiency in all the membership transactions when we embrace in that. You can see all of us here have phones. There's no one lighting most of the things on a paper. That's the digital aspect we are talking about. From the figures above, the growth is commendable. Most entities embarked on local church membership audits, which I want to commend. We encourage every entity to have a membership that they can account for. That is the nurture, retention, the ACMS spirit that we are addressing in this case. We commend all the fields and conferences for their ongoing positive and tangible membership register cleanup that you are doing. Do not fear to clean up. We would better talk of a figure which we know. And that's why even as we now embark on doubling the membership, we double but members that we can touch and we know where they are. That is the spirit we want to encourage here. Nature, retention, and reclamation is a vital component in church membership growth. Most churches in EKUC have nature, retention, and reclamation committees. But if your church does not have these committees, please go and start one so that you can be reviewing and checking where the members are. The greatest challenge is that not all churches are making good use of the nature, retention, and reclamation committees. One thing forming it is another thing also making sure that these committees meet regularly, at least twice a month, that which is key, and that's our recommendation. It is through these committees that the church will be able to contain the high rate of membership loss that we are currently experiencing. There is no other way, brothers and sisters, that we will address the way we are of the retention of the members if we do not embrace the spirit of nature, retention, and reclamation to be sure that we know where each member is, and you can follow up and get with them anytime that you want to get them, especially when you embrace the ACMS and the NRR. We challenge all the fields and conference leaders to support and make the NRR and a top priority of their I Will Go quinquennial mission strategy. Every church to adopt and use ECD NRR manual, which every executive secretary has, and the new EKUC ACMS register, which we have in the churches, which you can counter-check what is in the crowns and what you have, which you can touch in the manual. I want you to remember this. Remember that teamwork spirit is in all our 11 entities is our drive to greater heights. Let me report, Mr. Chairman, the achievements. There is a general increase in membership. As you have seen, we have not reached there, but we can talk of a general increase in membership. There is a general increase of churches and companies. You have also witnessed that. Most entities have managed to do thorough church register audits, which we encourage, and giving us a fair reflection of membership option. Now, all CMS is very easy to follow. This has greatly reduced members and promoted now efficiency in clerical work. Further, Mr. Chairman, ACMS has helped the NRR committees to categorize their members in order to attend now to them efficiently and promptly. This has greatly bridged the gap of losing members and has now promoted ministering to the homebound members, helping them to remain active in worship, active in fellowship, and in giving. As a union, we have realized 60% of ACMS data cleanup, which is commendable as a union. Challenges, because where you have achievement, you have challenges. Digital register cleanup is a bit slow than expected. So we want us to be faster in that due to multiple entries of the same member in either one church or different churches, making it quite now challenging to harmonize the hard copy and the soft copy. Some entities have not fully embraced the use of ACMS. That's another challenge that we can talk about. Then some churches do not have active NRR committees. We want to encourage you that you do that so that they can work. Then there is still evidence of delayed entry of newly baptized. Please, when you baptize, enter those members into the digital register and also into the manual one as well. Then looking at the ratio of Adventists against the total population in EKUC, we want to say that there is still a great work to be done to increase our presence in this territory. You have seen the population and how the ratio is in each territory, and therefore we need to work very hard. The recommendation is that all EKUC entities to fully now embrace ACMS. In-depth the membership audit to be done, NRR committees, and then EKUC entities now to ensure real-time entry of newly baptized members. As we baptize, let's enter them. Our union, as a union, we request all these entities now with a higher presence of Adventism to voluntarily move out of the less now Adventist populated entities and collaborate with them to increase Adventism. This partnership is welcome across the border, even to Somalia. Let's have volunteers who can move there, but as you know, we do not report much of whatever we may be doing in Somalia. In order to realize the vision of doubling our membership by December 2025, to attaining at least, we said doubling would reach 1,200,000 members, we need to go back to the drawing board and check what we are not doing right, or even probably we need to change the approach to enable now the way we can increase this membership. Ensure that all fuels and conferences of the committees, then ensure that we are doing audits frequently, and in order to manage the 11 entities, Mr. Chairman, I want to report that EKUC has endeavored to subdivide this large territory into at least 2 by 2027 or 2028. We should keep that as our spirit and endeavor. Conclusion. As East Kenya Union Conference, we are trying, by God's help, to penetrate further to the increased territory, to the unreached territories and people groups. By God's grace, we will work to reach them and retain them. Remember, that is our spirit. We don't only reach them, but we make sure we retain them until Christ comes back a second time and finds them ready for him. We praise God for what he has done since 1906, when the first missionaries arrived in Nyanza with a prophetic message and a mandate of prophesying about many people, nations, tribes, and kindred. That is recorded in the Revelation. With his help, thus far we have come and still press on until the implementation of the Great Commission to go and make disciples of all the nations is fully accomplished. That is recorded in those books that I have mentioned there. And I want to finish up by saying some of these challenges appear to be insurmountable, but from a human perspective. Ellen G. White says, assurance is unmistakable when she says, when we think of the conflict before us and the great work that we must do, we tremble. But we may remember that our helper is almighty. Praise the Lord. We may feel strong, more than conquerors. We have the confidence to believe that even the least of our unentered areas of our union territory and peoples shall soon see the fulfillment of God's promise through prophet Habakkuk. The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of God as